If you're watching the live stream, you're not watching this right now because it's dead still, I think. So hang on a second, folks. Thank you for all of you coming. I really, really appreciate it. There's people from around the world here. Thank you very much. We're going to reveal the groups in just a second.
Colin.
Clap wildly. Oh, Jesus, take my tooth out there. Thank you all for coming, seriously. We've got a couple of legends behind me here who are going to help give some opinions on this. Besides Mr. Andy Quinn, the MC. The hatchet man on the Hapthor video. No. Anyway. 15 times at World's Strongest Man. You're going to clap him again in a minute, hopefully. Terry Hollands!
Do I want to talk?
You did my job for me. What's going on?
You're going to do it again in a minute, buddy. And of course, my partner in rhyme, here he is. Look at this. Look at this handsome fella here. Darren Sadler, 4 times World's Strongest Man competitor. And every year when we used to pick the group, somehow Darren ended up with Marius just about every year, didn't you, Daz?
I always got the hardest group, definitely.
So anyway, before we start the live stream, I don't think it's up yet. Is our live stream up? Our live stream is up. Right. Everyone, including people on the live stream, pretend you haven't seen us. We're going to go back off stage. We'll start this again. Here we go. Over to Andy Quinn, our MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 SBD World's Strongest Man! What are people saying here in Myrtle Beach? We're here for the athletes reveal. The one more way to reveal for the 30 groups. First of all, I'm going to introduce a man that you may know quite well. Some of you call him Dr. Evil. Some of us call him the Space Cowboy. We call him Mr. Colin Bryce! One of the creative directors here, also his co-creative director and co-owner of Giants Line. Give it up for Darren Sadler! And of course, everyone knows who the man is from the far end of the stage here. 15 times a World's Strongest Man competitor, came third twice, won Britain's Strongest Man, the demon from Dartford, Terry Hollands!
The demon!
I like that one. Yeah. That's a new one.
I'll start with you first of all. So, very much excited to be here. 30 guys here from top to bottom. You might say this is one of the most stacked lineups of all time.
I mean, I personally think it's the deepest lineup in terms of the quality of competitors we've ever had. Certainly in the time I was competing. For all 30 guys are absolutely amazing. I was lucky enough to go down to the yard yesterday watching the guys testing the events, and trust me, all these guys are seriously in shape. They all made everything look like, you know, they were professional, they were all proficient in what they were doing. It is going to be, without a doubt, the best World's Strongest Man ever.
Give it up for Terry Hollands. You concur with that, Mr. Bryce. Give us your thoughts, your musings on this year's World's Strongest Man, please.
Well, firstly, before I say anything, there's a man over there, live stream cam. If you look over that, it's on these as well, and others. Well, it's very simple, really. We have to make sure each group has the absolute best men in each one of the groups. So we can all have our thought about who's favourites. I'm sure everybody does here. The likely truth is that the returning World's Strongest Man is going to be a #1 seed, and that's just the way it is. And the new guys and those who haven't performed recently are going to be a little bit further down. That's just natural. Terry could probably tell you a little bit about, you know, everybody has big expectations, but the truth is that there's 4 or 5 men that are seen as the big guns. And then there's probably 10 to 15 men that people see as true competitors with a chance to actually walk away with the gold trophy. And then I think everybody this year, bar none, are in with a shout of actually making the final. And to be a top 10 competitor in the world is an exceptionally hard thing to do in any sport. Terry managed to do it 9 times in a row, and I feel awkward saying that because I never even made a World's Strongest Man competition. And Daz, you came, what, third 3 times in your group, just missing out on the finals. So you, in particular, know how hard it is, having been, I guess, what we call an 11th equal, the men who finished third in their heats. And it's a tough one to have to take. But these guys are separated geographically as well, so we tend to sprinkle a little bit of America with Britain, with Europe, with Australia, with whatever. We try and make sure that, we're not just going to have a total British fest in one group and an American fest in another. Obviously, everyone wants to see these guys separated out to make sure they geographically also. So it's tricky. Do you guys know who Big Loz is? Well, Big Loz has got it right. It's not exactly the most fun thing to do in the year. Actually, it's very difficult. And there's a huge amount of opinion, even amongst all of us here, as to who's right and who's wrong. And obviously, normally I'm right in the end.
I said to you earlier, though, didn't I? This must have been the hardest year to pick the groups you've ever had.
Terry, you're spot on, mate. Though having said that, speaking to you, I think you and I often actually have a very similar point of view on these things. Let me chuck this one to you before we even look at the groups, because you have not seen the groups yet. Who do you see as your top 3?
My top 3, Tom, Alexi and Brian Shaw. But it would be very hard for me to definitely say they're my top 3. I'd probably change my mind about 10 times if you asked me that question 10 times in a week.
Darren Sadler, top 3?
I think very similar, but I've got a bit of money on Kodiaka this year. He did so well in Europe's Strongest Man. I think Kodiaka is going to be the dark horse. But I'd have to agree with Terry. The form horses generally tend to rise to the top every year. But Kodiaka is the new kid on the block.
Mr. Quinn?
Well, it's not really for me to say.
You've had a lot to say on YouTube. We've all seen you.
But I think Brian Shaw's got a great chance. The final, and excuse him if he gets into the final.
Yeah.
It'd be great to see. You guys see Brian Shaw win his 5th time. Those 3, I think, will be up there towards the end. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here it's time to release the groups. Who wants to get the group from World's Strongest Man?
Here we go.
Okay, let's do it then. Here we go.
Alrighty. I think without further ado, let me just check they are starting to come up. Brilliant. Group 1, here we go. Our 6 in Group 1, and we begin in alphabetical order. First up, from Georgia, Konstantin Janashia. He's always a tough guy. Let's just go 2 or 3 in here. As we start to go through, we have a little comment from our experts. Number 2, from Ukraine, Pavlo Kordiaka, Europe's Strongest Man. Now, Europe's Strongest Man has not made a WSM final, but certainly Konstantin Janashia did quite a few in a row. He was the bogeyman who took Terry out in 2016, if I remember correctly. Terry, it was the first time in 10 years, the 10th year, and Terry failed to make the final because of Konstantin Janashia. Number 3 in this group, from Ireland, Patrick O'Dwyer, Paul O'Dwyer.